Coming up on Mike Williams, Chopping It Up.
2010.
Yeah.
You're suspended for the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Why?
For being young and dumb. I was out with a whole bunch of my teammates. We had a good night, and I decided to get behind the wheel after having a great night. Knowing I shouldn't have done that, being drunk and driving, and that's what I did. And I got pulled over right around Campus Corner, actually. Mm-hmm. And that's when my whole senior year, my whole focus in life and everything really changed for me, because I got arrested. And I remember being in the back of that cop car like, "Officer, please, officer." Like, I can call my coach, he'll come pick me up right now. Like, yeah, but I got arrested. They didn't show me no mercy. I mean.
You know him as the humble athlete with the $1 million smile. From high school standout to the Oklahoma Sooners.
Madu showing some toughness in his own right, shedding a couple tacklers and going into the end zone.
To the NFL. To Grey Cup champion of the Canadian Football League. Husband, father, and so much more. I'm Mike Williams, chopping it up with Mossis Madu.
Madu, end zone, touchdown. Mossis Madu, the sophomore from Norman, can do.
So you grew up in Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Just practically in the shadow of Gaylord Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, I probably never grew up more than 10 minutes away from the stadium.
Did you go to games as a kid?
Nah, I never went to one game, crazy enough. I didn't go to my first OU football game until high school. Like maybe my junior, senior year. Yeah.
Wow.
I never cared for OU football neither growing up. I never did.
Growing up in Norman.
Growing up in Norman,
I
I
didn't
never
care
cared
about OU
for it.
football.
I loved University of Texas, I loved Miami, and I loved Virginia Tech growing up. I never cared for OU football, crazy enough.
Two of those were blasphemy.
Right? That's what I was saying, because, I mean, I was born in Texas, like my brother and I, so we were always like, we tried to be different than everybody. Like, you know what, because I'm born in Texas, I'm going to go for Texas. I love the Longhorns, and I remember watching them growing up. They're wearing their all-white uniforms. Like, I love their all-white uniforms, like, just so crisp and clean. And I don't know, I just grew up loving Texas until OU started recruiting me.
What was your first introduction to playing football?
We started playing football here in Norman. I'd say like first grade. It was the first or second. We lived on the east side of Norman, across from Irving Middle School in an apartment complex called Vicksburg. And there's a little field there, and we used to always go there and play every day of our life. We played with a bunch of older kids and kids our age and younger kids. And that's where I learned how to play the game and where I fell in love with it. I never knew much about football. They all taught me football. Like back then, Dallas Cowboys were huge, so it was like Emmett and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman and Dion. So they would teach me who those guys were. I was like, okay, I'm Emmett then, because I would always be the running back, and playing older kids, I was scared to get tackled. So that's where I learned how to juke guys, and then it engraved toughness in me as well too. So yeah, it definitely started in Vicksburg. And Vicksburg is like huge to me and my brother, because that's where we grew up. That's where we learned everything, about football. And he actually has it tattooed on him. I plan on getting a Vicksburg tattoo too.
When did school start recruiting you?
Shoot. Well, it's funny because going into my senior year in high school at Norman High, there's a family who does a scholarship to send 2 kids from the football team to the OU football camp, the summer camp every year. And me and my friend T.C. Bread, I believe, got the scholarships. And I went there as just an athlete. And Bo Pelini was there coaching the DBs, and they were looking at me as a defensive back. I went there and I killed it. They actually put me on the other field with the good guys too. Like, there's 2 fields, they put me over there. And I was like, yeah, like I made it, and that's when I kind of got my first taste, but nothing really happened. Nothing stemmed from that. And then I didn't really start getting recruited until my senior year, like maybe after the Norman North game when I had the huge game against Norman North. But I didn't get my first offer until like my third, fourth game of my senior year. Up until then, I just figured I was gonna end up going JUCO, you know, to a smaller school like UCO here in Oklahoma or something. But things didn't really start rolling for me until a few weeks into my senior year. I guess I was just a late bloomer.
Was playing football in college something you even thought about doing prior to that?
Yeah, because I love football so much, and I knew that was going to be my only avenue to make it into college. Because I wasn't about to, my parents couldn't afford to put me into college, you know, or I definitely, you know, didn't have no means to get to college besides a scholarship. And I knew how much I loved football, you know, and so, you know, I saw other guys going, so I was like, nah, I think I could do it. But like I said, I thought it was going to be from a JUCO point of view and then maybe work my way up, or just a smaller school. Never thought it would be the likes of like OU and UCLA and TCU and schools like that.
So growing up a Texas fan, and now OU wants you to come play, was that even a difficult decision?
Yeah.
And you said, no, that's where I'm going.
It was crazy how that all started. I went to school with Coach Long. He was he was a quarterbacks coach when I was there. I went to school with his daughter, Lindsay Long. And I would kind of talk to her about it. And she actually was like the mediator between me and OU. It was kind of funny, you know, she would tell me things about, you know, her dad looking at me and recruiting me. And then like from there is when I kind of started getting more interest in OU because, you know, they were looking at me. You know, there's opportunity for me to go there. And it's funny because at first they were like, you know, if we don't offer you, we'll love to have you as a preferred walk-on. And I was like, ugh. You know, first of all, I can't afford that. Second of all, I want to go somewhere who's going to give me a scholarship. I'm not messing with y'all like that. And at the time, UCLA was recruiting me too. So that's kind of how it started, how I got more interested. And actually, the football camp I went to too as well, you know, getting to see the facilities and stuff, it kind of opened up my eyes. But looking back, it's crazy to think that I had no cares for OU football. Like, I don't know what I was doing. Like, I don't know. I just didn't really, I honestly didn't give it much attention as other people did. You know, I knew of it and about I knew, you know, some of the guys, but I didn't give it as much attention as kids do. Most kids growing up in Norman, Oklahoma do.
But loving football.
Yeah, and loving football.
And,
but
and not caring
like,
about OU.
I don't recall, like, I'm like games here and there.
Do you think that the time that you grew up in could have had something to do with that?
Possibly, because it was during the era when they weren't as good. Yeah. I definitely, if I would have grew up in the era, you know, while I was there, or even a little bit before then, Jason White days and, you know, things like that, Coach Hype days, it probably would have been a lot different because, you know, the buzz in the city would have been a lot, you know, a lot bigger.
That's right. So tell me about your first OU Texas game then.
Ooh, gosh, that was so long ago. It's hard. So I was a red shirt. I remember more of my playing days against them rather than my first one when I was redshirted. But I do remember my first experience of the atmosphere rolling up in the buses. Because you never, as a kid like me, you know, you never get, you don't know, like, the insight into it, like the things that happen, you know, leading up to the game. And, like, the bus rolls through the fair, like, literally straight through the middle of the fair to get to the stadium. And there are fans and Crimson and Cream and fans in the burnt orange on each side of the street. You got one side like, yeah, we love it. Other side like, F you, like throwing stuff at the van. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, grown men, you know, like just out there F-bombing us, you suck, you know, and then our side loving on us like that. They should use that as recruiting tools, what they need to do more. You know what I'm saying? Like, get kids some way to get them on those buses, because at that point, I would have been sold. I think anybody be done not to be sold because of the atmosphere. And then walking in there and seeing the split between the crowd, you know, the Crimson and Cream and then the burnt orange on one side, you could just look up and see the split down the stand. It's surreal.
And as a player, you notice that.
Oh yeah. You look around. You get in there, you look around. You don't get in there, you know. Anybody who's saying they're lying to you. Because you get in there, you see everything going on. You see the ambiance of everything. You feel the energy and the emotions. And like I said, like looking around and seeing it, it's jaw drop. It's hard to explain. I was actually trying to tell one of my teammates in Canada about it. he was actually Canadian and played in Canadian football out there in college. And it's college football. College Canadian football isn't as big a deal out there than college football is here in the States. So he was like, how was it playing in front of 90,000 like that? And I was like, man, it's crazy. So like, it's surreal.
So you see what's going on. Do you hear what's going on too?
Yeah, you hear the fans to a certain extent. While you're on field in the moment, you don't. But in between moments, in between plays, and you know, of course, the growl of the crowd. Maybe when you make a big play, things like that. And of course, when you're on the sidelines, you hear guys behind you yelling at you, talking smack. You know, fans in the stadium. So yeah, you can hear them.
This is the time I know you had to hear fans. This is the greatest game experience that I've ever been to or witnessed at all. 2008, Texas Tech.
Oh yeah.
They're ranked ahead of OU. Whoever wins that game is pretty certain going to the national championship. And when the players came out at halftime and they were playing jump around.
Are we in Madison?
And the players are on the field dancing.
Yeah.
My best friend turned to me and said, "This is what heaven is like." I said, "It is."
They gotta be. It has to be. There was so much leading up to that game because of the hype. Texas Tech was second in the nation at the time. We were fourth.
Yes.
And they were coming to our house. I remember that week. It was a super intense week because big games like that, we're known to win, especially at home, especially in the Big 12. We don't play around, you know. So practice was intense the whole week. Of course, Schmitty was intense the whole week in the weight room. And then things were intensified. And, you know, Michael Crabtree coming in, being the best receiver in the nation, things like that. And, you know, people kind of downplaying our DBs. So we had a lot to prove. Yeah, so when they played that song, it was crazy. 'Cause I remember looking around and seeing the crowd just moving like that. It was almost like a Texas A&M crowd sway thing, you know, where everybody's playing at the same time. And I remember it sent chills through my body. That's definitely an experience I will never forget. Like that game and that atmosphere, like, if Norman could be that way every home game, you know, because Norman doesn't get loud like that.
And that same week is when Coach Stoops came out and said, we need the crowd.
It's a big stadium, but it never got loud like that. Because we have a lot of fans like just sit in their seats and act real cool and not get loud. You know, it's like you came to a damn football game. What are you doing sitting in your seat? Get your butt up and cheer and be like, I remember there's so many games where I would look around and be like, look at this guy sitting on his butt. Look at these guys. You know, like, I didn't know, maybe expand the student section, bring a bunch of crazy kids in or something. But that game, like, it was amazing.
So shortly after that is the Big 12 championship game, which was your breakout moment. Yeah, talk about that game a little bit.
It was going to be another typical game for me, being a third running back on the roster, you know, behind CB and DeMarco, just coming in sparingly whenever coach needed me to. But DeMarco gets hurt early in the game, like maybe like the first drive or something. I can't remember. And then
that was his thing.
Yeah.
Getting hurt in Big 12 championship games. Yes.
Here is DeMarco Murray, and Vons comes up, and Herbie appeared to inadvertently hit him with the helmet right on the left knee. Let's see if that is indeed the case here. Actually, it was over on the right knee. Let me correct myself.
Levin goes down. Vons goes down to make a clean tackle, and it's just unfortunate that DeMarco Murray's knee is injured, and he's on the sideline in this football game.
So he goes down, and I get my chance, and I don't know. history is made. I had 3 touchdowns, and that's a tie for the most ever in a Big 12 game, rushing touchdowns, I believe. And my life changed. I mean, it's like, I still remember it all. I remember being on the field and shivering because it was so cold out there. I remember the benches. We had heated benches. They went out at one point in the game. So, I mean, it was misery, but at the same time, it was complete bliss because I got to display what I could do, you know, whenever. Like I played throughout the whole season, but it wasn't like in big moments like that. I mean, I played during big moments, but it wasn't like a chunk like that. So to be able to go out there and display what I could do, and in a sense, kind of prove why I'm here.
Madu stays in the game. Here's the toss play. Alley explodes, end zone, record breaker, first team in history. 5 straight games with 60 or more points. And now, how do you deny the Sooners an opportunity to play for a national championship? What a night for Mossis Madu.
Like I said, people have seen glimpses of it. And people come talk to me all the time about, I wish you would have played more, this and that. But I'm just like, hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles, you know. I've been a pro for 8 years now. So, I mean, either way, something's paid off. I did something right, you know, something's going right. So, but that game, it's one I'll never forget. And I remember how happy I was, like almost to tears after the, like, and actually I did kind of cry after seeing my parents and stuff after that, because I just, it felt good. You know, it felt good to be able to help my team win like that and to go out there and just display what I could do.
And you had millions of people that felt good for you.
Yeah, good.
Because that was when everybody found out who you were.
Yeah, it was good. One of my best friends was at that game too, so luckily he got to be there. Matt Hecox, he got to be there for it.
There was an MTV Cribs episode of Roy Williams, and in his foyer he had a picture of the Superman play.
Yeah. When
he caused Chris Sims to fumble.
The play every OU fan knows.
Yes.
38. Why, he's the premier safety in the land. Over the top of the blitz protector. It flutters, and Lehman strolls in. OU rolling again. Do these guys ever lose a big game? Not today.
And he said, no matter what I do, the rest of my life, the rest of my career, whatever, he said, I'll always be known for that right there. You'll always be known for that Big 12 championship.
Good. I'll take it. I will take that gladly.
Not that you won't do other great things,
yeah,
but you'll always be known for that.
I'll take that gladly.
Let's fast forward to a less happy time. 2010.
Yeah.
You're suspended for the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Why?
For being young and dumb.
Some little bit unfortunate news today out of Norman. Mossis Madu, backup tailback, has been charged over the weekend with a DUI.
Yeah, the court documents say that he was pulled over the weekend around 3 a.m. and he was twice the legal limit. They gave him a breathalyzer, and so he was actually charged today on Tuesday with a misdemeanor DUI.
What is the most likely result of this charge? What kind of discipline action do you think Bob Stoops will take?
Well, I think you have to look at Madu's past, and to my knowledge, he's never been in trouble. So I think that's something they'll take into consideration. I see, possibly season-opening suspension against Utah State, but nothing big because this is a first offense for Madu.
I was out with a whole bunch of my teammates. We had a good night, and I decided to get behind the wheel after having a great night. Knowing I shouldn't have done that, but the thing is, it's just one of those things. Like to that point, I had done it a good enough times where I felt confident I should be doing it and I could do it, being drunk and driving. And that's what I did. And I got pulled over right around Campus Corner, actually. And that's when my whole senior year, my whole focus in life and everything really changed for me, because I got arrested. And I remember being in the back of that cop car like, officer, please, officer. Like, I can call my coach, he'll come pick me up right now. Like, yeah, but I got arrested. They didn't show me no mercy. I mean, I had gotten away with so much stuff before then. I had to come sooner or later, as far as just being a kid and, cops being like, get out of here. So I had it coming, but I'm glad it came. I'm glad it happened, because I learned so much as far as what I could have done to somebody, what could have happened, you know, and things like that, and just control myself, and it built a new passion, a new fire inside of me, and more love and respect of the football game because it got taken away from me. And it's funny because before that happened, I'd actually been thinking about quitting football going into my senior year, just because of my junior year getting moved to wide receiver, and I was supposed to be a big part of the offense, you know, and then not playing but like a handful of snaps the whole year at receiver.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just thought about just quitting football and just finishing school and, you know, just taking on the world after that. But that also, it put things to perspective for me, you know. I knew I was a good kid. I'm not a bad kid. I'm not a bad person at all, but you do things and you learn from it, and that's what I did. And being suspended that first game, it made me hungry. I remember in training camp, I had the best training camp I've had since I've been at OU, you know, the best summer I had. And I was just ready because I knew being suspended that first game, I knew I was going to miss an important game. And I knew we had a bunch of young guys who were hungry too. So if they go in that first game and they show out, my senior year, I'm benched the whole senior year. So I need to prove myself in training camp and throughout everything else. And that's what I went out and did.
So after the cop show No Mercy, then you got to face the coaches. What was that? what was that like?
He said a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't say on camera, and a lot of stuff people probably don't need to know what he said to me. But just know it wasn't a happy talk. It wasn't nothing like you'll be all right. I'm gonna pat you on the back, give you a hug, and send you on your way. Shoot, it was a talk. It was a talk I won't forget. I was sitting there scared out of my mind, and he let me have it. I mean, I'm glad he did, though. He's not, Coach Stoops, man, he's not one of them guys who takes stuff like that lightly. You know, people talk about him discipline, this and that, you know, with recent things, other kids, but no, he don't play around. And he knows what he's doing. That's why he was so successful at that program with the guys he had, because your butt's going to get punished. He's going to dig into you himself, then he don't let his big guy Schmitty handle you after that. And that's what happened. And yeah, we sat down in that office, and it felt like an eternity, especially walking through the hallway to get to the office. But yeah, it was. I could see myself sitting in that chair, and like I'm, you know, above, looking down on myself, and I could just see how scared I was sitting there and just looking at him, just tearing into me. Yeah, it's no fun. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody.
He's a scary guy anyway.
He's an intense, scary guy, but he's so cool and so mellow. But at the same time, he would dig into you when he needs to, which is how you gotta be as a coach. You know,
yeah.
You gotta be the enforcer. So, but yeah,
I had skipped over maybe the biggest thing that happens to any football player. You played in the national championship game.
Yeah, yep. That was. I remember. Okay. So, you know, leading up to that game, I played in the Big 12 game, and I do good. And I remember doing an interview for ESPN. I forgot what show it was. It was a show that comes on in the morning on ESPN. And that's when I know I was like, man, this kind of game kind of got me some pub. You know, I'm on one of these big-time ESPN shows talking about the game in Miami. And I couldn't wait to get to Miami. My first time ever going to Miami. We stayed in Fontainebleau, you know, a huge, beautiful hotel, like popular as can be. We saw Jamie Foxx there. And there's all types of people going, you know, things like that. And then like, so there's that experience, and there's experience of the game. And I remember going to that stadium and seeing nothing but Florida fans. You know, we had one little patch in the corner. And that game, actually leading up to that game also, I had hurt my hamstring. A lot of people didn't know that. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to play in the game, but we had like a month off in between. So it was enough time for me to rest up. And I remember just be like, kind of hold myself. I was like, okay, you had a great Big 12 game, but let's build on it. You know, let's let everybody know, like, I'm here for real. And going into that game, so I was super prepared for it. I remember talking to Alan Patrick before that game too. He was like, hey, do your thing. You know, I don't know if he was a text message or through Facebook or something, but he was just like, kind of just telling me, you know, keep my head on straight and do my thing, you know, and also there's going to be a lot of scouts there. You know, it's a national championship. But I remember just, that game was crazy too. I remember coming out the warm-ups and just, it's like the Texas Tech game, but intensified. It was so like the feeling like I'm playing in the national championship. Like I'm going to play in this game. I'm not going to get in spring. I'm a part of the offense, you know? And I remember looking over across the sidelines of Florida. You see Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez. They had the running back / receiver.
Percy Harvin.
Yeah, Percy. The defense, their defense was real too. And that game was just, it was back and forth. I remember the first few plays of the game when Manny got smacked on the sidelines, Emmanuel Johnson.
Yeah.
Manny Johnson beating Hayden, but look at Major Wright going right through the wide receiver and getting the first big breakup of the game.
That's when I was like, okay, we're here to play. Let's go then. You guys want to do that? And yeah, that game was just, I'm glad I played in it and I got to experience that. But it's just one of them ones where, like, we were so close, you know, so close. And could have been some things that we could have done differently, but hey, live and learn. And but that game, I remember the speed of it too. Florida was a fast team. I had one carry. I thought I was gone. Ended up being like a 2-yard run. I was like, oh, green grass, I'm gone. I started digging in and whoop. As one of the big DNs, was it Dunlap? Carlos Dunlap, maybe was it DN? I forgot his name, but one of the big time DNs just wrapped me up, swallowed me up. And it was, but they're a big team, big and fast.
So players that say that a national championship game is just another game, they're all liars.
No, that's just fluff you give to the media. Everybody knows how big a game is. They're like, you approach it. Okay, I can't even say you do. I was gonna say you approach like another game, but you can't even approach it like another game because it's a huge game, you know? So you try as much as you can to approach it like another game. You know, you do your same rituals and you do everything you do normally, but you just know things are gonna be intensified, you know? So whether it's watching a couple of extra more minutes of film, you know, or maybe staying on the field to practice a little bit longer, things like that. But no, that's all fluff guys give to the media, saying this is just another game. It's not just another game. It's a national championship, the biggest game of your career up until that point. And no, we all knew it was a big game.
This, I want you to correct something for fans.
Mm-hmm.
When OU is in a bowl game, and if OU loses that bowl game, as they did have a tendency to do at times.
That we did.
And then you get the fans on Facebook and Twitter and every other thing talking about, oh, how could you not be ready for a game? You had 30 days. It's the biggest game.
Yeah.
You know, it's the biggest game for the fan, much less the player. How can they not be ready?
Yeah.
What's the true story there?
The true story, I think it's just execution. I mean, you're ready. You're always going to be ready. You know, this is what we came to school to do. It's the reason why they brought us in, because we showed that we can be ready, that we are ready to play. In high school, every game, when they're recruiting us, and up until the point, all through college, every game you played in, and they trust you to put you in the game or start you in whatever. So you're always ready, but it's just when you get to that big game, it's execution. Maybe it's little things, you know, guys being off a little bit because of the break, you know. Their body and their senses, you know, aren't all the way there because of that long break. But it kicks back in. But I think it's just execution. And if you notice, in big-time games, one team doesn't play like they played all year. That's always a story. One team always, you know, doesn't show characteristics that they show throughout the whole season.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's just execution and just doing what you've been doing, which it's for some reason that's just how it happens. You know, it's hard to explain, but it happens. You know, and it's hard as a coach to try and to curve that. You know, to like, what do? Do you make practices more intense, more harder? You know, do you go good on good more throughout that month off, or do I kind of lay back because good on good. What if somebody gets hurt? So there's a lot of things going on, and it's hard to equalize it. But it's just, when it comes down to it, it's just showing up and playing and executing. You know, for some reason, the other team, the team who loses, is a team who doesn't show signs of what they did throughout the whole season to get them there.
The phrase I think that I hate most in all of sports is, well, that team wanted it more than the other team.
Yeah.
Because they all want it.
We all want it. Maybe it just, That's tough because, yeah, you're right. Both teams want it. Maybe a team can come out more hungry because maybe you're an underdog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can come out with a bigger chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, I believe in that. But as far as you, like, I totally agree with they're more hungry. Now we both want this Super Bowl. You know, we both want this natty. We both want to win this game.
All right.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know, for some reason we came out here and we couldn't execute. Something was going on in the air that day. We just weren't able to play like ourselves. You know, and I know it's hard, you know, like you said, like, as a fan, especially somebody who's never been behind the scenes, doesn't know what's going on. But it's something that's hard to explain. You got to be there and you got to know, you know, but it's just tough.
Everybody always wants to know what that's like at halftime when things are not going right, when you're not executing the way you have all year, or at the end of a game. What is in the players' minds, the coaches? The season is over. We lost. This the biggest thing.
Yeah.
What is going on then?
Like, okay, so as far as the halftime part of your question, it's a thing where you come in, and the coaches are the ones who keep everybody up. Come on, y'all, we're good, we're all right, you know, and then the players feed off of them. You know, you have players doing it too, but the coaches are the ones really in there, like, we're good, you know, and we're making halftime adjustments on the board and things like that, and everybody's trying to keep the morale up, because that's the number one thing you want to do is keep the morale up. You want to let guys know we still have a chance to win this game. There's one more half to play, whether we're down 50 or whether we're down 10 or 7 or 3. We have one more half to play, and that's the thing. You have to keep guys' morale up. You can't let us think that we're doomed, we're done. You know, so that's how halftime is. And as far as after the game, I remember sitting there. This picture's actually on Google. Me and Jermaine Gresham, my boy, we were sitting on the bench together at the end of the game, looking, and you could see the blue and orange confetti falling, and Florida celebrating. I remember just sitting there being devastated, like, wow, you know, we actually lost this game. And I just remember that feeling, like, it sucks. I don't know how to explain it besides saying it sucks. You know, you're just sitting there looking at this other team celebrate, and you're just walking back to the locker room and sitting there watching them, you know, knowing it should have been us, you know. But like I said, it's something you just don't execute sometimes.
Next time on Mike Williams Chopping It Up with Mossis Madu.
The season is over, but your career is not. And you get signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep. That's when I found out I was meant to be there, you know, because I could play with them. I actually found that out during training camp, you know, as soon as I stepped foot out there, like, okay, I can play with these guys, you know.